The people of Belfast have every right to be angry. This sickens me to my guts. Starmer stands up and has the brass neck to say, I have no tolerance for this kind of sickening violence. Well, you have, matey. They're trying to shift the attention away from the actual problem. I'm sick of it. We've never been in more danger now as a nation than we are right now.
Carole Malone, the firebrand.
Hello.
Express legend.
Yes.
Belfast. I mean, it's gone crazy. Tell us what's happened.
Well, last night there were riots on the streets. There was a lot of damage. There was houses burned, cars burned. After, all during the day, there'd been calls for calm from various MPs and various people in Stormont. And of course, it wasn't calm. And you know what? As with every protest, you have genuine protesters, and then you have the thugs who come in with the black masks, as happened yesterday, faces hidden, and they're torching everything. They're not the people, but the people of Belfast have every right to be angry, just as the people, last week had every right to be angry over Henry Novak. I'm getting sick of politicians and policemen telling me that to keep calm, to not get angry. No. Why don't you deal with the problem? It's not my job to keep calm. It's your job to deal with what is causing this problem. And what is causing this problem is out of control immigration. I mean, I've just done a TV show today where there are people saying, oh, this is not about immigration. This is about a crime. No, this is about a crime that is alien to the culture of this country. Jim McAllister, who was the MP for North Antrim in Belfast, he asked a very reasonable question in Parliament yesterday of the Irish Secretary, Hilary Benn, and said to him, how do we stop someone from an alien culture trying to behead someone? And Hilary Benn tried to pretend he didn't know what an alien culture was. He didn't know what it meant and tried to belittle Jim McAllister. I mean, these people are the problem. People like Hilary Benn are the problem because they're not acknowledging why these things are happening. There has not been a beheading in this country, or an attempted beheading, since the murder of Lee Rigby, and that was 20-odd years ago. This is the kind of crime that is committed from people from different cultures. And this guy, we know, he's from Sudan. He came here in 2023. He came from Paris in 2023 and got went through he arrived in Dublin, but this is the other problem. There is an open border between the south and the north of Ireland, and that has been part of a frictionless border to keep the peace between the nationalists and the unionists. But the border is being exploited by migrants, and this is the problem. They're pouring in, and we saw it happening in reverse a few years ago. Remember when the Tories were going to bring in the Rwanda plan, and the people from the north were flooding to the south. And politicians then were trying to deny that this is why it was happening. But they were flooding to the south because they knew they couldn't be rounded up and flown to Rwanda.
And then Keir Starmer, in his eternal wisdom, said, let's get rid of
Rwanda. And had he had a credible plan to replace Rwanda, all well and good, but he didn't. But this guy being here, this guy came, he would not have been checked. He would have dumped his papers. He got indefinite leave to remain here for 5 years. Now,
under Generic.
Under Generic, I know. Listen, it's not just Labour's to blame.
No, of course.
But at least the Tories did try Rwanda, which is something that we're going to bring that in. But we have Starmer yesterday standing up, and this sickens me to my guts. Starmer stands up and has the brass neck to say, I have no tolerance for this kind of sickening violence. Well, you have, matey. You have, because you and your useless policies have facilitated this kind of violence. He's the government, he's the man, and his mate Lord Harmer, who will not deport foreign criminals when they've done hideous things, will not get rid of them. And I just think, he goes on about, he talks about his children, other people's children, and that he cares about. No, he doesn't. Don't pretend to be sad or to care if what you're doing, or not doing in his case, is facilitating this very thing.
Well, if you ask them, right, I mean, Keir Starmer, like you say, he said, I won't tolerate this violence you're seeing on the streets. They always talk about social media.
Yes.
And causing division.
Yes.
If you say anything.
Yes.
If you're a right-thinking person and you see something like the Henry Novak case.
Yes.
Absolutely outrageous. And you respond to that with a feeling of anger. You're bad for feeling angry, right?
What they're trying
You're causing division, not the person who said,
that's exactly.
we'll handcuff the boy who's dying.
Yeah.
They're not causing division.
So what they try to do is deflect from the issue by trying to blame. Whenever something like this happens, you hear weaponised, you hear far right, you hear causing division. And that's they're trying to shift the attention away from the actual problem. And they're trying to shift it to the evil social media. You know, the cops said the other day that the cops in this case have been accused of not releasing enough information early enough. Now, it had echoes of Southport, where the police there refused to reveal that Axel Rubicabana, where he'd come from. He was born here, but his parents weren't. That's what causes riots, because when you have a lack of information, then false information goes out on social media. It is twisted, it is messed about. Suddenly, you've got this wrong fact up there, and people are reacting to that. So if the cops did their job and put out the proper information to start with, you wouldn't have misinformation. But, you have people even today blaming the press. Every time there's a crime, people blame immigrants. This kind of crime is happening every day, James, and that's why people, and this is a cumulative anger, and the reason people are taking to the streets is because we're sick of it. We're absolutely sick to our guts of a government telling us how shocked it all is and how terrible it is and doing sod all about it.
To go through some facts of the case, guys appeared, the suspects appeared in court today. 30-year-old Hadi Alodid, don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, appeared in court, charged with attempted murder after his knife attack. Also charged with possession of a blade and apparently, allegedly, making threats to kill an NHS radiographer on the same day. The victim, Stephen Ogilvie, lost his left eye.
Oh,
during his court appearance, he didn't speak, didn't respond to any questions, which were through an Arabic interpreter, also refused any legal representation. He's been remanded and denied bail. Obviously, Carole, contempt of court laws being what they are, but you can only say so much, can't we?
Yes.
His next court hearing is July the 8th. Going back to the protests, buses were torched. This is a detail which me and you both understand why people are angry, but this sort of stuff is pretty grim. Migrant homes supposedly targeted and set on fire, including I saw on BBC report today, one Ukrainian family. Our reporter, Conor Wilson, really brave guy, proper journalist, was out on the scene yesterday. It was super tense. They spotted him with his photographer and they were told, put your cameras away, and they ended up being sort of basically chased out of town to hide in the bush.
All of that is terrible.
Yeah.
Innocent migrants being targeted is terrible. But it's totally and utterly predictable. This was always going to happen. It's interesting. I was listening to people from Belfast this morning and who had seen its fair share of carnage over the years. And they were saying, we knew this was going to happen. And they knew it was going to happen because of the open borders, because they've seen people coming in. They've seen a lot of these migrants being put into close-knit communities. They've seen them prowling the streets. It's all young guys. It's not 50-year-old guys. It's not 60-year-old guys, all women and children. It's mostly young, fighting age guys coming into communities and disrupting them. And so while innocent migrants being targeted is hideous, that kind of level of anger is understandable, because people are sick of saying to this government and to the previous one, stop this, get this under control, leave the ECHR, deport migrants and criminals, do not stand for the nonsense anymore.
Completely agree, Carole. And I think when you see these scenes in Belfast, in Southampton, London, last year there was loads of chaos in London. I mean, in my lifetime, Carole, fair bit shorter than yours, no offense.
Yeah, well, here we go. So I say JJ's giving you the
not
brief.
here. He did send me a text.
For her age.
He sent me a text. He's like, get one dig in at least. So there it was.
Sexist.
Sorry,
Hello.
Carole.
I'm screaming
look,
sexism.
I've grown up in my lifetime. Country starts out, it's the early 2000s, late 90s. Culturally homogenous, sensible country, confident in itself, steady trajectory upwards. My parents are getting richer, my family's feeling better off. Standard of living is improving. Everyone feels safe. Now look at the state of everything, right? You look at the streets now. I just don't even.
I don't recognise this country anymore.
But how does it get fixed? Can reform even do it?
What he has to do is a bit like what Starmer did on his first day in office. He has to announce immediately on day one he's leaving the ECHR.
Yep.
It's not going to solve all the problems, but what it will mean is that we don't have to... And actually, we are probably the only country in Europe that follows the ECHR rulings. It means it will allow him to literally, the minute they arrive, they get straight on a plane and fly them out. No ifs, no buts. And if he does that in his first 2 or 3 weeks... what that's going to do is A, look good to the electorate, but B, it's going to say to people across in France, oh, hello, we might just get flown straight back. There's no point. We saw even when the Rwanda plan was being touted, we saw the effect that had, that people coming across from France, the numbers went down. We saw what happened in Ireland, where people in Northern Ireland were escaping to Southern Ireland because they thought they were going to be put on a plane. So even the threat of Rwanda had a deterrent effect. So if Reform get in, or whoever gets in, if Kemi gets in, whatever, if they just start loading people onto planes and saying, we're not going to take any notice of the ECHR, we're going to have our own Human Rights Act, we're going to have our own human rights rules, and this is what they are. That will, I think you will hear a collective sigh from British people, because as it is now, all we see are boatloads of these young guys coming in, thumbs up, laughing, having chucked all we don't know who the hell they are, what crimes they may have committed in their own countries. But what we do know is we are importing alien cultures. And the problem is, I think there's enough people here now that have come illegally. There's enough of them here now where the problem is going to be ongoing, even if no one else came. And that's the other thing that Farage could do, or Kemi. They could just say, okay, as of today, no more immigrants for the next 5 years. We don't need immigrants for the next 5 years. We just don't. So if we did that, I think, or we have immigrants that have specific jobs here that are coming to do specific things, not just I'm coming to do a course and can I have a visa for the next 3 years, and
not coming over to work in Sainsbury's, which someone
exactly,
on the dole could do.
Exactly. So we want professionals, we want people who've got jobs, who've got careers. What we don't want is people who are coming to live and exploit the benefit system here, which is what is happening with a lot.
Completely agree, Carole. Right as ever. Look, if you're enjoying this episode so far, don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to smash the hype button too. More people see what Carole's got to say,
whatever
as they should.
Means.
Right?
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And look, even better, if you want to watch this ad-free, none of the adverts, none of the YouTube stuff, none of our own sponsors, you can pay $2.99 and join Club Expresso. Carole, would you want to?
I think that's a lot of money to ask people to watch me.
Well, you get Mark Dolan as well. I don't want to say it in front of you, Carole.
If you get Mark Dolan, that's good. He's worth watching.
Yeah, okay. A bit more on me as well.
Yeah.
Right, a quick pause in the podcast to tell you about our sponsor, Incogni. You had those phone calls from numbers you don't recognise, or you go in your inbox and there's emails for stuff you did not sign up for. Well, that's because someone somewhere is selling your private information. That's where today's sponsor comes in, Incogni. They will contact these people who have been taking your information, and they'll say, oi, stop, delete it. Go to the website, incogni.com, you type in the details, 2 minutes later, Incogni are sorting it out for you automatically. And because I love you, I've got you a discount. It ain't 10%, it ain't 20, 60% off. 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Just go to incogni.com/Daily Expresso or click the link in the episode description box below.
Carole, on to the next topic. Rachel Reeves. More bad news from her quarter.
Yes.
She's going to drop another nuke on the economy, basically. She's planning to hike taxes again.
Yes.
Rachel Reeves planning to hike taxes again, this time to defund defence.
To defund defence.
Defund defence. Christ.
Yeah,
you can tell this is my first rodeo, can't you? Right.
You're doing very well.
Thank you very much, Carole.
And the insults haven't been as copious as they would have been with old JJ sitting there.
I'm respectful
And
of my elders.
well, no, you've been totally disrespectful, but anyway, that's by the by. Yes, Rachel Reeves, the woman has got no shame. She's talking blatantly about raising taxes again. And this article today, she's saying, the first duty of any government is to take care of its people. Oh, hello. I mean, I want to, pass the cig bucket, Alice. She is saying what we have been saying to this government for the past 2 years. Look after us. You're not doing that with defence. The army chiefs want 28 billion for the defence to get the army up to scratch.
A lot of money.
The defence plan still not being published. It was supposed to be published in June the 2nd, not being published. There were rumours it was going to be published today, not being published. Rumours now it's going to be the autumn. I will guarantee it won't be published then either. But I think the reason it's not being published is because they don't have one. I think that's the bottom line. And they haven't been able to find, lots of government departments have been told to make savings, to make cuts. And they've all come back and they've not made anywhere near enough. So they can't fund what needs to be done. And I was just reading stories. So we had the stories last week about those Hunter attack submarines.
Yeah.
The only 5 we've got are in dock, all with technical difficulties. These submarines are vitally important. They protect our waters. They, from nuclear attack. They're the biggest force we have. And it's also very important for NATO as well that we have that kind of force, for us to fulfill our obligations. But, we had that. Then I was just reading a story about soldiers can't get in a lot of government vehicles because the vibrations are so bad that it's making them sick. They're going off sick.
The suspension's completely gone.
Suspension's complete. So they can't fix army vehicles. We've got all our submarines in dock. Our warships, as we know, aren't operational either. We've got 72,000 soldiers, which is the least amount we've had in the last 200 years. And this government has no way of paying for them. There is a way, obviously. There's a very easy way. So cut the benefits bill.
I was going to say, because you say all this about the need to increase defence spending, but it doesn't feel to me like tax is the way to do it, right?
No, tax is not the way to do it. No, it's cut the net zero projects, get rid of them, the benefits bill, cut the energy security nonsense, and just get our. We've never been in more danger now as a nation than we are right now. Putin, and China must be sitting there laughing their socks off. They launch any kind of attack on this country, we are literally sunk. Literally sunk. And it's, this country was called Great Britain for a very good reason, because militarily we were one of the best. And now we are just a joke. We're a joke on the global stage. But more importantly, this government, and the previous one, but this government in particular, they have neglected their duty, and their duty is to keep the people in their country safe.
If I was going to play devil's advocate, Carol, and be left wing for a minute,
go on.
Give me a chance here.
Yeah.
They would say, I think, that those days of Great Britain, Nelson, Wellington, that's long gone. Pre-World War II.
Well, I would say that was a long time ago.
Is long gone, and we can't pretend to be the policeman of the world anymore. We can't throw our might around, and maybe we have to accept that and focus more on the
we're a member of NATO. We have obligations as a member of NATO in terms of our defence capabilities. We expect to be protected by NATO, and yet we're not contributing what we should be, and we don't have the force to fight if anything happened. We saw what happened with Iran, and I'm not saying we should have been part of that war, but literally we couldn't have been. No. We just couldn't have been. We sent one ship, and it wasn't working, and it got there, and then it broke down again. I mean, this is a joke, and I feel sorry for the guys who are in the military. Why anyone would join the military these days, I do not know, because they're not supported. But thank God that they do. But the ones that do, if you can't go and sit in a military vehicle without being knocked sick by bad suspension, this is a terrible situation to be in.
Oh, it's rotten. It's rotten. To go back to what the left might say, another argument they put forward.
You're making me nervous now about you and the left. But anyway, go on.
Carol, I'm a sleeper agent.
Yes, okay.
I'm actually a Leninist.
Go on.
Look, they would say, is it all about giving the Department of Defence more money, or is there something to be said for looking at who we're awarding contracts to? And all that sort of stuff, because it seems to be a lot of money is wasted there. And there's not a lot of accountability. I mean, there's that story last year which I think was extraordinary, and no one really paid much attention to it, which was the story of a Trident nuclear missile test being fired, and it just flopped into the sea.
Oh God!
And you sort of think, who in that line of procurement, who are we procuring all this stuff from, and did we get our money back? Is there something to that maybe actually before we start increasing defence spending, we need to look at where's this money going? Are we getting good value for money, or are we being basically conned by a very select few?
Everything you're saying there is absolutely right. However, this government is not capable of that. We have a cabinet peopled by morons, and I don't say that lightly. I've never known a cabinet with less intellect and less experience and less intelligence than this one. They have no experience of the outside world, most of them. They literally don't know what they're doing. We have a chancellor that every financial analyst in this country is saying, This woman is catastrophic, and we've seen what's happened. Businesses have closed because of her stupid taxes. Unemployment has rocketed. Inflation has rocketed. All because of what this woman has done. And yet she is still in position. And the reason she's still in position is because there is no one with half a brain to take her place. And this is this terrifies me. So everything you're saying, they're not capable of doing that. James, they're not capable of getting a plan out. They can't. Never mind putting the plan into action. Yeah. They can't even publish a plan. You know, Ukraine is going to must be worried today because this government made a 13 billion quid commitment to Ukraine, and I think Zelensky's coming in the next. Has he been?
Yeah,
is he
he's,
coming
sort of,
this
he's
weekend?
doing
Whatever.
a sort of world tour.
He's due here soon. How is Starmer going to look him in the eyeball and say, "Actually, mate, we've got no money for you"? Zelensky was moaning this week about the fact that Farage has ordered all flags, that, including the Ukraine, want to be taken down, which incidentally I think is not a terrible thing. If you tell one country they can't have one, you can't have another country having a flag. Obviously that move was to get the Palestinian flags down, but if you're doing that, you've got to take them all down.
Yeah.
But so if he was upset by that, he's going to be a lot more upset when Starmer says to him, actually, we haven't got you 13 billion. We can't give you those missiles. We can't give you any more. And that's what's going to happen.
So in terms of making cuts to get money like that 13 billion, we talked about cutting welfare.
Yes.
If you were to cut one bit of welfare, what would you cut?
Right. Universal credit for a start. Not all of it, but huge numbers of it. Yep. And also all the benefits for mental health issues. You cannot go to a doctor and say, I'm a bit fed up, and then just be getting paid.
They're handing out like Skittles, right? They're sort of going, you turn up and you go,
I'm not well.
Yeah, I can't concentrate for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, here's your diagnosis, here's some pills.
Yeah.
Not just get off TikTok, you brain-rotting idiot.
Yeah, well, exactly. Exactly right. Yeah, and a lot of the universal credit, we know that we have a lot of migrants who come here who go straight on universal credit. Some people need it, but we have to be tougher in who we're giving it to. I was talking to someone last week who was saying to me that they're a carer for a relative, and they just wanted a bit of something to help them. Hang on, I'm going to stop.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
I'll start that again.
Do you want to make a note of the time to help Michael?
I'll start that whole section again.
Sorry, mate. I do this all the time.
Sorry.
I love leaning in. Thank you.
So, I was talking to a pal last week who's a carer for a parent, and she just wanted a little bit of help with something.
Right.
And she said, Carol, I couldn't believe it. I asked for one thing, and they're throwing everything at me. They're saying, oh, I'll have this and have that and have the other. Well, who's doing that? And I think the instructions to all of these people on the other end of the phone when you ring up for benefits is give it to whoever asks. Because a few years ago, when I was younger, and don't dare go there, and don't say it's more than a few years ago when I was younger.
Before the beverage report.
Yeah. If you were going to claim any kind of benefit, you had to go to the job centre, you had to be interviewed at length and asked why, and you had to go back every week and explain yourself. That doesn't happen. None of those kind of assessments are happening anymore. And if a doctor gives a sick note, that sick note can last for months, even years. So there needs to be more control over the money that's being given out. And the other thing I'd stop as well is all these courtesy cars, mobility cars. You have to have obvious proof that you can't walk about. Now, there was a poor bloke a couple of months ago, only had one leg. He's an obvious candidate for a mobility car. But when you've got people who are 26 and say, I get a bit puffed if I walk down the street, they are not the obvious candidate.
Go for a jog and have a calorie deficit. Or get on those pills, those jabs.
Yes.
Look, I will start an argument here, Carol.
You might have noticed I like to wear this gold watch, gold bangle and gold wedding ring. Gold is physical. It can't be hacked, digitally manipulated or printed into existence by governments. That's why I'm backing today's sponsor, the Pure Gold Company, which helps people buy UK minted gold coins like Britannia's and Sovereign's tax-free, and they've built a really strong reputation for their no-pressure approach and expert guidance. Now, they were even voted the UK's best gold broker. So if you want to understand more about buying physical gold and whether it's right for you, download their free guide to buying gold at the link below. By the way, mention my name, JJ, and for 6 months, you'll get secure storage for free. And also remember, the value of gold can rise as well as fall. So if you're not sure about investing, please do seek independent advice.
Speaking of welfare to get rid of, State pension triple lock seems like
Absolutely not.
I mean, this basically, I'm going to get crucified when I go back to the desk.
Absolutely,
It's
you
very,
will,
very
you will
not
do.
expressed.
And I hope
But
our
just-
readers and viewers go mad at you over this. The triple lock was brought in for one very good reason, because pensioners were living below the poverty line.
They've got it really tough, haven't they? You
And
guys bought your houses for the price of a packet of crisps.
No, that's
and,
you really think so?
Assets
No, I'll
in the
tell you what.
millions, and
I'll tell you what.
it's tough.
I bought my house at a time when, yes, borrowing money was cheaper. That's a fact. However, when I bought my house, I wasn't going on holidays. I wasn't having three cups of Starbucks a day, £3.50 a time. I wasn't going out for dinners every night of the week. I wasn't living at large because I had a mortgage and I had to pay my mortgage. And there was a point in my life, and you talk about buying it for a packet of crisps, and the interest rate was 17.5%.
Pretty rough, to be fair.
That took up 2/3 of my salary, just the mortgage payment. So I went into debt, had to, because I couldn't live for a lot of years. I remember my mum saying my bank account one day, and she went, "My God, how do you sleep at night?" I had no choice because of the high mortgage rate. So don't tell me it was easy for us. It was not. And it really hacks me off. I know I said a bad word there. When people say, people my age, we should sell our big house and go and live in a box so that someone who's 28 can have a bigger house. No, work for it.
We do work for it, I would argue.
You've got a house, haven't you?
Well, I've just bought one.
Well, there you go.
2-bed.
And how old are you?
31, Carol.
Okay, well, that's pretty
And this
good,
is the
isn't
problem
it?
we got, right? How are we
pretty
going to... Well, how is our generation going to have kids if we're moving out at 30... Well, buying our first place at 31, you're getting security at 31. I've got a... I mean,
Lots of
pretty
people-
well-paying job. I'd like a bit more.
Lots of
Tell you
people
what, if
in
Piers, if you're watching.
rented accommodation have children. You don't have to have your own house to have children. This is nonsense. It's not an entitlement to have a house. Lots of people in Europe never own a house because it's just not the dumb thing. So it's not your entitlement to have one. I had to save. Yes, I think I had to put about a 5% deposit down or something, but I saved to get that. So all this tosh about, boomers actually, being given houses, it's absolutely tosh. I worked hard to pay that mortgage.
Speaking
And I've
of
still
people
got a
who-
mortgage, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes.
£100 a month?
No.
6-bed house?
No, it's not. It's not. I wish it was £100 a month.
Look, speaking of people who work really hard, Carol, Meghan Markle.
Oh, you think she? Oh, okay. She thinks
Really
she
hard
works really
grafter,
hard. Okay,
multi-millionaire, super
Yeah, yeah.
successful,
Yeah,
Miss
yeah.
Meghan. She shared more details about her children on social media. This is after asking for privacy, people that
Yes.
respect her privacy and her space and her children. She shared a photo of Lilibet, 5 years old, in a
Yes.
Beyonce t-shirt. The caption was, "Springing into summer, Carol."
Yes.
Really makes you think, doesn't it?
You see, Meghan wanted privacy for her children when she had, what was her Spotify contract? 80 million or something, and her Netflix
Some ridiculous
contract for
sum, yeah,
100
yeah.
million. So you can have privacy then, but now she's got none of those contracts anymore, and she's I'm not even sure how rich she is anymore because no one wants to employ her. She's not getting the big gigs anymore. Netflix they haven't dumped her, but they've got rid of the really generous contract, and now they're having first look at her projects. She doesn't have any projects. That's the problem. So she's not going to be earning very much money. But now when her profile is going down, what is she doing? She's utilising her children, and she's putting this picture. Now, yes, we don't see their faces. That is a fact, and that is good. But you can't say I'm not going to exploit my kids when you are absolutely doing exactly that. And I think it was also the Beyonce t-shirt. It was to remind us all that she met Beyonce back in 2019, and Beyonce had said to her and Harry, "Jay-Z and I, we love you guys. You work as hard as we do." Well,
Hollywood makes you sick sometimes, doesn't it?
that makes me sick.
I think, to be honest, it sounds like Hollywood, like you said, are sick of her. Like Netflix have sort of passed her off.
Yeah.
Spotify, no one will forget, Bill Simmons,
Yeah.
Spotify legend, called Meghan Markle a potentially useless grifter, and
He
you can
called her a
see
grifter,
why.
yeah. Yes.
And Netflix are now sort of saying, well, we might make a film produced by Harry about Afghanistan, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
There's desperate times, isn't it?
Well,
Carol?
his
Desperate
polo
measures.
one went down like a lead balloon, didn't
Who
it?
the hell wants to watch a 10-part documentary about polo?
No, especially he wasn't that good at it, really. He was okay, but, he was not like he was a champ or anything. But, the thing is, the problem with their big contracts they had, part of that deal was they had to come up with ideas. Well, they never did. The people paying them the money had to come up with the ideas, and then they did them. But so both of those big companies just said, nah, this is not happening. And also, they're a joke now. People realise they're grifters. They're not in the upper echelons anymore. The George Clooney's of this world now, they don't invite them anymore to anything. And the big A-listers don't invite them. They get invited to lots of charity gigs and lots of third, fourth-rate events, but they don't go to the A-list stuff anymore. And this is all about keeping her profile high. And this is also because I think the talk is her and Harry want to come back to Britain.
There is also talk, Carol, and Mark Dolan has talked about this before on the show, and so have a few royal biographers, about a split in the Sussex household over sharing pictures of Archie and Lilibet, because of course Harry, with his history, frankly quite tragic, especially concerning Diana, is very, very reluctant to have his children's privacy breached, to have their faces out there, have their sort of whatever it is they might be interested in out there. Do you think Harry's right to be a bit annoyed with Meghan?
I think he's right, and it would make him a hypocrite if he wasn't upset about it. He believes, although I don't believe this is true, that it was the media attention that caused Diana's death. It wasn't. It was a drunken driver in a tunnel that caused Diana's death. So you can see why he's annoyed about it. And this, but Meghan is always the one for a photo opportunity, and she's using her kids, and she has done over the past 2 years without their face, but she's used them to suggest we are a sublimely happy family. All the pictures of them together and cuddling or whatever. No one's buying it. We know what we see. I don't believe anything I see on social media anymore, actually. Because it's just. None of it's so much as AI generated, and so much of it is just not true. It's most of this stuff is PR exercise for whoever's putting the pictures out, and I think that's what this is literally all about. It's to keep her relevant. It's to keep her name high profile, so that whatever little idea she comes up with, people won't be going, Meghan who?
Yes, exactly. Her output is nothing like Daily Expresso, is it, Carol?
Nothing at all.
Nowhere near as good.
Nowhere near as good.
How have I done? If you were to compare me to, say, JJ.
No, you're good. No, you're good. I think there could be a career here. In fact, let's just get rid of JJ now.
Well, that is an idea. I think the viewers would agree.
Yeah, we could.
Tell us what you think in the comments.
The trouble is, we can't physically tackle him because he could kill us both.
Easily, yeah. I mean, he's about twice the size of me. really, really is. I think Gareth's about twice the size of me. Tell us what you think of the episode. Tell us what you think of the Tash. I've got a lot of comments about that.
What they've said, good comments or bad comments?
Oh, pretty bad.
I think you look better without. I think most people look pretty better without.
What about facial hair?
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's a
little bit dirty.
Are all very kind of hairy.
Everything you eat gets stuck there.
Oh, great.
It just does.
What an image to end on.
I mean, when you blow your nose, things get stuck. It's just not a good thing.
Thank you, Carol, for that. Cheers. Well, if you've enjoyed this, hit like, share, subscribe. Do not forget, smash the hype button. More people will see this video. We desperately need it, don't we, Cal?
Yeah.
We want every view we can get. We want people to hear the right stuff, not the sort of woke nonsense from Channel 4, etc. Look, and lastly, a reminder, you can become a member of Club Expresso, exclusive Club, Carol. $2.99 a month. That's all. Less than the price of a cup of coffee.
That's
a millennial coffee.
It's good value.
It's keeping us out of the housing market. Look, thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.